Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to Health Hub Central, our little home where we can sit together and talk about health, about aging, and about those seemingly small things that actually determine so much of the quality of our lives. Before we begin, if you find these conversations helpful, please hit the subscribe button and leave a comment below. Because sometimes a single piece of advice or a personal story shared can help not only ourselves, but also someone out there who may be quietly struggling without us even knowing. And I truly believe that health, especially after the age of 50, is not just a personal matter. It's also a gift we give to our family, to our children, to our loved ones who are always watching over us. Now, I know that many of you might be sitting in front of your screen right now, listening to me, while gently rubbing your hands, your wrists, or maybe your knees. That stiffness, that aching feeling, especially in the morning when you wake up, when your joints feel locked, and every step out of bed feels heavy. Does that sound familiar to you? I've heard hundreds, even thousands of patients in their 50s and 60s tell me the exact same thing, and I've seen their eyes light up when they realized, oh, my body is sending me a signal, and I need to listen instead of ignoring it. One of my patients, a woman in her mid-50s, once told me, "Doctor, I always thought that waking up stiff in the morning was just normal, just aging. I endured it for years, took all sorts of painkillers, tried every remedy people suggested, but over time, I only grew more exhausted, as if my body was betraying me." I sat across from her and gently said, "No, your body isn't betraying you. It's crying out, telling you that something inside is out of balance." And that is the moment I want to highlight in today's video. When we enter middle age and beyond, the body changes. And one of the most silent enemies is something called rheumatoid arthritis, an autoimmune disease. Simply put, instead of protecting us, the immune system, our body's natural defense army, makes a mistake and turns against our own joints, causing swelling, pain, and stiffness. The irony here is that what was meant to protect us becomes the very source of harm. I want you to imagine this. You wake up in the morning, ready to step out of bed to make a cup of coffee. But every step feels chained, your fingers are stiff, and even buttoning your shirt feels impossible. That's not just getting older. That could be a sign of a disease that, if ignored, will quietly erode your quality of life. Some people confuse it with gout or with osteoarthritis, but rheumatoid arthritis is different. It doesn't just attack one large joint like the knee. It often strikes many small joints at once: the fingers, toes, hands, the very parts we use every day to hold on to life. And it's usually worse in the morning, what we doctors call morning stiffness, when it can take nearly an hour before you can move freely again. So let me ask you, have you ever felt that way? Maybe you've told yourself, "I must have slept wrong," but then the next day and the day after, the stiffness returns. Slowly, it becomes an unshakable shadow in your life. I remember a man about 62 years old, a carpenter his whole life, who came to see me. He said, "I've used my hands since I was a boy, and now, just holding a hammer hurts. My fingers are swollen, weak. I feel like I've lost a part of who I am." Listening to him, I realized that rheumatoid arthritis doesn't just damage the body, it touches the soul, because it takes away work, pride, and even identity. My dear friends, I've been practicing medicine in the United States for over 30 years, and what I've come to understand is this. Many chronic illnesses, including rheumatoid arthritis, are not just medical stories. They are stories about how we live, how we listen to our bodies, and how we nurture our spirits. Science tells us that this disease can be influenced by genetics. If it runs in the family, your risk is higher. It can also be triggered by lifestyle and environment, smoking, lack of exercise, excess weight, and above all, stress. That invisible weight can act like fuel on a slow-burning fire, making the immune system go rogue and flare up the disease even more. Sometimes, the enemy isn't far away. It's hiding in the very habits of our daily life. Now, here's what I want to emphasize. This is a chronic disease. It cannot be cured completely, as many misleading ads might claim, but it can be controlled. Its progression can be slowed down. And most importantly, you can still live a full, meaningful life if you know how to manage it. Throughout my journey with thousands of patients, I've seen a clear difference between two groups: those who let the disease drive them and those who take back the wheel. The ones who choose to exercise regularly, keep a healthy weight, eat mindfully, follow treatment plans, and most importantly, nurture optimism. They don't just live longer, they live better. They still stroll with their spouses, play with their grandchildren, cook their own meals. And I believe that at this stage of life, freedom and dignity are the most precious gifts of all. So today, I invite you to join me in this conversation, not just to understand the symptoms, causes, and treatments of rheumatoid arthritis, but to reflect on how we choose to live the rest of our lives. Because sometimes, health isn't only about medicine. It's about answering a very simple question: am I truly listening to my body and respecting it? Now, let's go a little deeper. I want to make this clear and easy to imagine. Think of your body as a city. In that city, there's a police force, your immune system. Their job is to protect against intruders, bacteria, viruses. But in rheumatoid arthritis, those police officers get confused. Instead of chasing criminals, they start attacking innocent citizens, your joints. The result? Swelling, warmth, redness, pain. What's unique about this disease is that it doesn't go for big joints first. It usually attacks small ones, fingers, toes. I've had many patients tell me, "Doctor, in the morning I can't even open a bottle cap. I can't hold a toothbrush." That's not just pain, that's losing everyday joys. And let me ask, have you ever woken up and needed 30 minutes, even an hour, just to feel flexible again? That's morning stiffness, one of the hallmark signs of RA. Other times, patients feel fatigue, a low-grade fever, or a strange sensation of their body being on fire. Some told me, "I feel like I've had a mild fever all day, even though the thermometer says otherwise." That's inflammation at work inside. So where does it come from? There are three main factors. First, genetics. If your family has a history, your risk rises. We can't choose this, but knowing it helps us stay cautious. Second, lifestyle and environment. Smoking, lack of movement, obesity, or repeated infections all can trigger RA. I once had a patient, 58, who had smoked since his youth. He said, "I thought cigarettes only hurt my lungs. I didn't know my joints would pay the price." His disease progressed much faster. Third, hormones. This is why women are more affected than men, especially between 30 and 50. Hormonal shifts, combined with stress, make the immune system more sensitive and unstable. But please remember this: RA is not the end of the road. It's a reminder that we must adjust how we live. Treatment today has come a long way. Let me reassure you, this disease can be managed. We have different groups of medications, from pain relievers and anti-inflammatories to special drugs called DMARDs and biologics that slow the disease down. But remember, there's no magic pill. And one critical warning: do not self-medicate with steroids. They may bring fast relief, but long-term misuse can be devastating. Weak bones, high blood pressure, diabetes. I've seen too many patients come to me already dependent on steroids, paying a heavy price for short-term comfort. So alongside medication, I always highlight three essential pillars. Maintain a healthy weight. A lighter body means less strain on the joints. Exercise regularly. Nothing fancy, just daily walks, gentle stretches, yoga, or swimming. Movement keeps joints alive. Keep your spirit calm. Stress truly worsens the disease. I often advise patients to find their own peace. Reading, gardening, music, prayer, meditation, anything that soothes the soul. One large U.S. study found that RA patients who kept active and ate diets rich in vegetables and omega-3 fatty fish had significantly slower progression than those who didn't. Sometimes food itself is medicine, if we choose it wisely. And you know what? I always tell my patients, illness may be an uninvited guest, but how you receive it determines your journey. Ignore it, and it will take over the whole house. Manage it, and you can still live in harmony, perhaps even healthier, because it teaches you to cherish your body more. My friends, today we've traveled far together, from understanding what RA is, why it appears, to how to manage it, and most importantly, how to live with it. I want to leave you with this thought. Illness does not define us. It is only one chapter in the book of life, not the entire story. When you look at hands that are slightly bent, or feet that move slower, don't just see loss. See the journey those hands and feet have carried, years of work, love, care for family, contributions to the world. Those marks may actually be the most beautiful evidence of a life fully lived. One patient once said, "Doctor, I can't do heavy work anymore, but I've realized I can tell stories to my grandchildren. I can teach them how to cook. I can sit beside them and listen. And that's a great joy too." I smiled and replied, "Exactly. Sometimes health isn't about doing everything. It's about still being able to do the things that matter." So let me ask you, today, what do you choose to focus on? On the pain and the limits? Or on what you still can do, still can enjoy? I believe that with the strength of the spirit, along with proper medical care and lifestyle choices, anyone living with RA can preserve both freedom and dignity. I've seen it in hundreds of patients, and I believe you can too. So if you're listening to me now, start with something small. Tomorrow morning, stretch your arms gently before getting out of bed. Skip that cigarette. Add some greens or a slice of salmon to your meal. Or simply remind yourself, I still have value. I still have so much worth living for. My friends, I deeply believe that at any age we can still write a new chapter in our lives. Don't let this disease take that belief away. Thank you for listening to me today. If you found this video helpful, please leave a comment, share your story, or ask the question that's on your mind. And don't forget to subscribe so we can continue walking together on this journey of health, hope, and a more fulfilling life. See you in the next video.